like say, get it paid, boy.
Shut up. How many times should I tell you that I love you, my baby? How many times will you tell me that you love me too, my baby? I know that your last messed up, but I need you to open up. Listen, I know it's a marathon, not a race, but baby, please. Dip in there, dip in there, dip in there. Open your heart for me, my love. The button, the button. Don't want to lose my way, my love. Dip in there, dip in there. Open your heart for me, my love. The button, the button. Body maker, make a man terminate all the haters. But where's the love? Where's the love? Like the way you try it, beating on your body like a panopita. Make a girl terminate all the haters. But where's the love? Where's the love? Where's the love? I'm waiting for it. Where's the love? Is it ever coming? Try waiting on you. Look, I know you want to love and skip to happy, but to love you have to trust. Dip in there, dip in there, dip in there. Open your heart for me, my love. The button, the button, the button. Don't want to lose my way, my love. Dip in there, dip in there. Open your heart for me, my love. The button, the button. Like the way you move your body maker, make a man terminate all the haters. But where's the love? Where's the love? Like the way you gyrate, beating on your body like a panopita. Make a girl terminate all the haters. But where's the love? Where's the love? Where's the love? I'm waiting for it. Where's the love?
Favorite late night sessions with your one and only Bean. Today we'll be chatting with John Giordano, an addiction expert whose career spans over 30 years and himself is in long-term recovery. Hi, John. How are you doing?
I'm okay. I'm doing so far. Like I said, I'm above ground. I'm doing good.
That's lovely. Welcome to Late Night Sessions. Are you ready to spill some beans with us?
Yes, just ask away.
So, do you mind telling us a bit about yourself, basically a bite size of who John is and what John is all about?
Okay. I'm, as you said earlier, I'm in long-term recovery. So I have 36 years in recovery from drugs and alcohol. Let me see where I can start. Okay. I do a lot of things.
Yeah.
I'm grandmaster in the martial arts and karate. I'm also a chaplain for the North Miami Police Department. I'm an addictionologist and a traumatologist. I work with people coming back from Iraq, Afghanistan, police officers that have been in shootings for trauma. I'm a researcher and an author. I do a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I can tell, but it's all to help other people. I love that. Thank you so much. On behalf of everyone.
Well, we have to help God's children. There's a lot of darkness in the world. You have to bring some light.
That is so true. That is so true. So, do you mind telling us about how you got into drug abuse and addiction and eventually coped with it and changed your whole life's path?
Okay, I started my journey when I was, I think, 19. And I never did any drugs or I never did anything. I was, being a martial artist, I was a karate champion and all this kind of stuff. And I went to Florida and opened up a little school. And I'm originally from New York. And my students used to come always stoned to class. And I used to come out until they threw up. And says, if you come to my class again, this is what's going to happen. So they, the next day, they did it again. I said, there's something seriously wrong here. And so I did the same thing again to them. And one of the guys said to me, Sensei, that means teacher.
Yeah.
Would you you should try it. If so, you know what it's about at least. I says, I don't need anything to change my mood. I changed my own mood.
Mm.
So we got a little granddaughter here.
No problem.
So what I did was I had a neighbor that had come over and he had a glass vial with him.
Yeah.
He had some just clear liquid in there. And I said, what's that? He said, well, that's LSD. So I said, LSD? I said, let me see that. And I took it out of his hand and I drank it. Well, little did I know there was 5 hits in there.
Oh.
That means it was for 5 people.
Okay, that's quite a lot.
So I was flying around for about 3 or 4 days. And then after that, because I wanted to learn, I always wanted to learn things.
Yeah.
And I heard that's what LSD did. And then I went to pot, and then I went to all the different drugs. Peyote, what else I went to? I went to some opioids. Finally I did coke.
Mm.
I did marijuana. And anyway, I stopped there. Coke was my drug of choice, actually.
Yeah.
So that's cocaine for some people who don't know what that is. Anyway, when I started getting really out of control, and I didn't realize that I was getting out of control, but everybody else did. That usually is anyway. And what happened was my family did an intervention on me. Now, my father was a heroin dealer. My uncle was a hitman. The rest of my family did illegal things.
So it didn't really help the situation much.
Right. And so they were doing an intervention on me. I'm wondering who should be doing an intervention on them.
Yeah.
So anyway, I winded up going to treatment because my mother said she'll never talk to me again. And my mother, wasn't like that. And I said, well, so I went into treatment. And what happened was, I didn't want to be there. I didn't go there because I thought I had a problem. I went there to get everybody off my back.
Yeah.
So while in treatment, I never forget, I was in my first group therapy session, and they said if I wanted to share, what's going on with me. And I said, look, if I have to share, I have to probably kill some of you. But I said, look, I wouldn't even get high with you kind of people. So why should I even talk to you? I was really angry and nasty, and because I didn't like where I was, and that's what wound up happening. But after a while, a couple of weeks, I started to clear up a little bit, and what changed my whole life was when it was Christmas time, and I wanted to go home for Christmas Eve. I got into treatment on December 4th, and so I asked the staff if I can go home, and they said no. And I said no. And I got furious. I only get angry, I and rageful. So what I did was I walked out, I walked into my room, I slammed the door, and I'm sitting and I'm angry, and I remember my counselor telling me about praying, and him saying, John, did you ever get on your knees to pray? I said, look, I got calluses on my knees. I'm a recovered Catholic. So I said, what do you mean God doesn't hear you if you're standing up? Or how about if I'm in my closet? Do you hear me then?
Yeah.
But for some reason, what he said stuck. And, I was crying, I was angry. So I went to get my knee down, and I couldn't get my knee down. And this was like really weird. And what the heck's going on here? And then I finally pushed my knee down, and then I had to push my other knee down. And for the first time in my life, I started to pray for God's will, whatever that is. And all of a sudden, the anger and the rage left. Like for the first time in my life, my anger went away, and I couldn't believe it. So as sick as I was, I tried to get my anger back. That didn't work. And from that day on, things changed. I don't know what happened, but I started to look at things differently.
Yeah.
And they gave me an extra 2 weeks in treatment. And, I said, okay. And then after treatment, I really wanted to help people. But being as that I only went to the ninth grade, and, and then to be a counselor, you had to go at least get a GED at that time. And so what I did was I started talking to everybody when I was married still, and my wife at the time was using drugs still, and I never forget it. I got out of treatment, and she's driving home with me, and she hands me a vial of Coke, and she says, "Just do one line. I know you haven't had that in a long time." I said, "Are you crazy? I've been in treatment for 6 weeks. Now you want me to do Coke?"
Yeah.
So what happened is that they told me not to make any changes for at least a year. So what I did was I kept going to therapy, went to therapy with her, and I went to aftercare program, and I kept on complaining about her and complaining about her. And they said, "Look, John, if you can't deal with it over there, maybe you should get divorced."
Yeah.
That's what I wound up doing. I wound up getting divorced. And I wound up, she had the house, she had the car, I had nothing, and I wound up being homeless. And a friend of mine loaned me a room in a hotel that he owned. And that's where I would sit, and my kids would come, and they would cry. And they said, "Daddy, what are you doing here?" And, and I was getting depressed. And I'm saying, "This is recovery? This sucks. What am I doing in recovery? Like, this is terrible."
Yeah.
But I used to go to group and complain about everything. And they used to say, "John, did you use today?" I said, "No, things already got better."
Yeah.
That might be true on one end, but the other end, wasn't.
You're really miserable on the other end.
Right. So a friend of mine lent me a bicycle, and I had a little jar I used to put my quarters in. And my kids used to come, we all used to cry together. And eventually I said, "You know what? This is where I am. This is what it's got to be." And I started to enjoy, believe it or not, where I was. I started to take my bike. I used to ride on Miami Beach in Florida on the boardwalk and at late at night and looking at the stars and the ocean. And it was just really beautiful. And, I started working out more in my karate. And what I wind up doing is I wind up going and entering a tournament and for the state championships. And I won the state championships. And even though I won, I looked like I lost. My uniform was torn off me. I mean, it was pretty wild.
Yeah.
And because back then they didn't have any weight divisions. And the guy was, I think he was about 260. I was about 165.
Okay.
But I beat him, and that was in the finals. And I went on, and then to cut it short, I'll compress everything. I wind up going to school, and I got my my GED, which really freaked me out because I haven't been to school for 25 years. And I never forget, I walked into the place, and there was a woman. She had her back towards me, and I said, "Listen, I'm here to take the test." She said, "Oh, I said, "I'm here." And before I could say anything, she says, "Oh no, I know you're here for the GED test." I started to laugh. I said, "Everybody like this?" He says, "Yeah." I said, "Okay." So I went into the room, and some of these people couldn't even put their name down on the paper. So I said, "You know what? If they're here, I can do okay."
Yeah.
But some of the subject matter, I never had, what do you call it? Some of the math that they had. So I said, "Oh boy, how am I going to do this?" Anyway, I went through it, and I figured I failed. So when I got my papers back weeks later, I was afraid to open the darn thing up. And everybody asked me, "Well, how do you think you did?" I said, "Oh, I never had algebra in my life."
Yeah.
Look at that. Well, I opened it up and I passed. Now, how that happened, that to me, it was a God thing. And I went to the addiction school, and I had to get 300 hours of that. And I did that. And then I had to have 6,000 hours of supervised on-the-job training. Well, what happened was I'm still in that hotel room, and I decided that I wanted to open up a treatment center. So everybody like kind of laughed, and I said, look, let me see what I can do. And a friend that owned the hotel, he loaned me. He said, look, if you want to open up a treatment center, I said, yeah, I got this guy, Dr. Trop, I says, and he was a famous addictionologist in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
I says that wants to open up the treatment center. So I lied. I never even talked to him. He happened to be my doctor when I was in Sinai Hospital.
Yeah.
So I went and he said, look, if you got him, I'll give you the money. He said, how much money do you need? I says, oh, $250,000. Now, I only know about treatment because I was in a treatment center.
Yeah.
I know how to do a treatment center. So what the windup was, I went there and I said, Jude, I got $250,000. Would you like to open up a treatment center? No, John, I was thinking about that just before you walked in. He was like a comedian.
Yeah.
And anyway, long story short, we opened up the center. And what happened was I got in with the wrong partners. I'll put it to you that way. So I don't want to make it thrown out. And I wound up staying there. They said to me, if they said my friend that lent me the money was stealing, which he wasn't, they were stealing. I figured they were in recovery. How could they do that? But that's what happened. Anyway, I wound up staying there for 6 years. Anyway, they gave me the outpatient clinic, and we had 3 clients in when I built that up. So what I wind up doing was staying there for 6 years. I got my credentials, then I left. Then there, I tried to open up another treatment center. I did. Another guy gave me money, and I got in with the wrong guy again because I never used lawyers. I was a street kid, and I got screwed again.
Yeah.
That was my fault, not their fault. I went along with the wrong people. And then after that, I worked at a homeless shelter for addicts and alcoholics. I was the clinical director, people with HIV and people that had mental health issues. And then after that, I opened up my own little treatment center, an outpatient thing. And I got one of my friends that worked with me at this homeless shelter. He did the business part. I did the treatment part. Well, he did some of that too. And what wound up happening was, then I got his son involved. And then, I started it with $300. We had a 750 square foot place. And cut it short, his son was a genius when it came to the internet.
Yeah.
We had a treatment center that nobody ever had before. We used all alternative medicine that was evidence-based. We did hyperbaric chamber as oxygen under pressure to help heal the brain. And acupuncture, amino acid therapy. We did biofeedback, neurofeedback. We did colonics. We did massage to help get the drugs out of the system.
Yeah.
And on and on and on and on and on.
And this was with the right partner this time around.
Yeah, and what happened was, 18 years later, we sold it for $45 million.
Whoa. And you started with $300.
And I started with $300. And we became known all over the planet for what we were doing. I'm currently in 75 medical and scientific peer-reviewed journals. And I work with 25 universities, doctors, researchers, and scientists on how to make treatment, better and have people stay in recovery.
Yeah.
Because the current model doesn't work very well. First of all, a 28-day model is really ridiculous. So, people come out of a detox, they're still flying around in their brain. And, and then 2 weeks later, they might bond with a therapist. And then they have to leave. Yeah. So that doesn't work very well. In our treatment center, we kept them for 45, 60 days, even if the insurance companies didn't pay.
Yeah.
So
your priority was the clients and not anything else.
Right. And then I hooked up with Dr. Kenneth Blum, the geneticist who found the addiction gene. Now, there is an addiction gene. Most people may or may not know that. And
Mm-hmm.
you got the gene doesn't necessarily mean you're going to become an addict, because there's such a thing as what is known as they call epigenetics. That means the social environment could change the gene expression, so the gene does not become active.
Uh-huh.
So I wound up doing research with him and his team of scientists, and we did stuff that nobody was doing, nobody at all. We had a very high rate of success, and what we did was, because we figured nobody would believe us, so we used them as a third party. We had a Dr. Stephen Schoenthaler from California University,
Mm-hmm.
and Dr. Blum and his team, and we did outcome studies. And our outcome studies, compared to anybody else, was through the ceiling. We had, and I tell people this, but I'm kind of embarrassed because it sounds kind of absurd. We had a 70% recovery rate for the first,
Whoa.
and that's unheard of.
Yeah, that's quite high.
Yes, very high.
Mm.
The way we did it, you see, most people don't realize this. What they do in regular research, they call the addict up and ask him how he's doing. So what Doc, we use that part also, but what Dr. Blum did, he had some people he knew at MIT, and
Mm-hmm.
they had a new program that they were working on that can tell when someone's lying by the inflection in their voice, their tonalities,
Yeah.
and we implemented that. And then we had what is known as a three-quarter way house, and what that is where people go and stay after treatment with other recovering addicts, where they have to go to meetings, they have to have a job, they get checked by urine checks, at least.
Mm-hmm.
And we made a deal with them to watch our clients to drop the urines, okay? And we were getting reports back saying your clients are different from everybody else.
Yeah.
So and then they would come to our aftercare program, and then we would drop a urine on them and check them. And those who were home that didn't stay around, we would make sure we called their significant other to make sure and see how they're doing, plus calling the addict.
Yeah.
And we used to also hook them up with a therapist. So the ability to talk to the therapist, because the client allowed us to do that, to see how they were doing.
Yeah.
So that's how we got our numbers.
Nice.
Yeah, it was like really, really, really cool what we did.
Yeah.
What people don't realize, that we looked at the microbiome. The microbiome is your gut, or the flora in your intestines. But people don't realize that's where serotonin and dopamine is manufactured. What is that? That's the feel-good drugs that people have, okay, that addicts are seeking. So what happens is it goes from your gut, or from the microbiome, up to your vagus nerve, it's called, into your brain, and deposits it.
Mm-hmm.
So if your gut is messed up, then your brain's
then you're not gonna have much of the feel-good drug.
Right.
Yeah.
So that creates anxiety and depression. And if you're an addict, you're going to look to medicate. See, so that's another thing that we looked at.
Yeah.
The microbiome. And then we were looking at co-contributing factors to addiction that most people don't even realize, and they don't even look at that at treatment centers at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you have a low thyroid, you're going to have depression and anxiety. If you have H. pylori, if you have a leaky gut syndrome, if you have hypoglycemia, if you have a closed head injuries, all of the things I just mentioned can cause depression and anxiety. And if you have that going on, you're going to look to medicate.
Yeah.
So we're not looking at that. We're only looking at the psychological part, which is an important piece. I mean, you got traumas, you got all these other things that go on, sexual abuse issues to be addressed as well. But without addressing the whole body,
yeah.
What are we doing? And the methodology today is that 28-day program is 70 years old. It's from 1950. And it was founded by a researcher who came up with the 28-day model, didn't have any experience.
Yeah.
And, Hazelton took it and they sold it to the insurance company, and they made it a 28-day model, but it was based on alcoholism. Now, as we know today, drugs cause the brain to go totally offline, more so than alcoholism, and it damages the brain.
Yeah.
So people need longer treatment, anywhere from 60 to 90 days, depending on the severity of the illness. And that model actually is based on the physician's referral network, where, in other words, where doctors get caught using drugs and they have to go to this program, they have to go to the program for 90 days,
Yeah.
and they get a 5-year aftercare program that they check weekly to make sure they're not doing any drugs. So it doesn't have a basis for it. Any other questions you want to ask me? I could talk forever.
You actually answered a lot of my questions in one question, which I found really cool. But one other question I wanted to ask was, what remedies or like plant medicines, in your experience, can also be used to treat addiction?
Okay. I work with a Dr. Deborah Mash. She's the leading neuroscientist that is a pioneer in ibogaine. Are you familiar with ibogaine?
No, I'm not.
Okay. Ibogaine is a bush from West Africa, and it was used as a rite of passage for the Weedy tribe. And what happened was a gentleman by the name of Howard Lutzoff was looking for a new high, and he came across ibogaine. Now, ibogaine is also a psychedelic. So what happened was he did ibogaine. Now, he was a heroin addict, and I don't know how many bags of heroin a day, but a serious heroin addict.
Yeah.
He did ibogaine, and then the next morning he woke up and he was detoxed. And he didn't have any cravings. Well, that's unheard of.
Yeah. For someone who was doing a lot of drugs.
Yeah, especially, well, opiates take anywhere from 7 to 9 days to detox. Okay, but you're not really detoxing, you're stabilizing. See, they call detox centers detox, but they're not, because they're putting other drugs in to stabilize from the drugs that are on board. So it's not really a detox center, it's a stabilization unit. So he opened up a treatment center, and he got Dr. Mash, and she worked there for a while, and then she decided to open up her own treatment center in St. Kitts, a detox center. And that's how her and I got together. And I was a therapist, and I used to prepare the clients to go there. In other words, we had to put a heart monitor on them for 24 hours, because if you have a heart condition, you can die from this. So we had a heart monitor on them, checked that. We did blood work with them, and also we saw what kind of drugs were on board. So you had to know exactly what's going on in order to be safe for the client.
Yeah.
Then I would take the clients to St. Kitts, and then we would repeat the process there to make sure everything was what was on board and how the heart was functioning, and everything like that. And then what we would do, we had the worst of the worst clients. These clients tried everything to get off opiates and cocaine and alcohol and methadone, and they came to us.
Yeah.
And what happened was, I would sit down with them in group. I would prepare them for their journey, because see, what ibogaine does, it's a psychedelic also, and what it does is it brings you back into your childhood, let's say, to simplify it, as an adult, and where you look at your past traumas and your emotional baggage, and you get what is known as resolution, or cathartic experience from it.
Yeah.
And then also what it does is it stops it detoxes you in 24 hours. So I would prepare them, and it's a spiritual medication.
Yeah.
So we would talk about spirituality. We would talk about what's the things that are bothering them, because I wanted to bring it into the front of their brain, so when they go into the journey.
Yeah.
Then they would go in. We would give them a test dose, and to see how they tolerate it. Then we would make sure they lay in the bed. We would put eye shades over their eyes. We would put a headset on them. So we keep them in a containment field. We would have a heart monitor on them, and we also would have an IV in their arm just in case there was any events.
Yeah.
And they would go out for about 8 to 10 hours. And then they would come out and they would be detoxed
Yeah.
with no cravings. And like people couldn't believe this. And we had people from all over the world come there. And I did that for 12 years. And that's what Dr. Mayers is currently doing FDA trials,
Yeah.
trying to get into the United States because in the United States, it's a Schedule 1 drug. It's illegal.
Okay.
So that's the plant medicine. And now the other plant medicines that are working, psilocybin and LSD, and all of these help with depression and anxiety if done properly by people that know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Not as a recreational drug, by no means.
Great stuff. And so let's talk about COVID. I mean, we're slowly getting used to this new norm, but how do you think the COVID pandemic has affected the whole opioid crisis?
Well, the way it affects people is, first of all, addicts they get bored easily. And if they're home, it didn't work out too well. We have I think it was about 70,000 people, died last year from overdoses. And it's going to look like it's going to double this year if things don't change. So Ibogaine is a miracle substance, but it has to be done right. Now, there's a lot of people that are doing this in other countries that they mean well, but if they don't do it under medical supervision, it's not going to work out. I hope we come out of this, sooner than later, because people can't go to meetings. They're just starting to go to meetings now here.
Yeah.
But most of it's online on Zoom, and it's different.
It's different. Yeah, true.
But it's better than nothing. And, people that are home alone and they're bored, addicts don't do well when they get bored.
Yeah.
So it does affect the opioid. It affects all the drugs, people that are drug addicts.
True.
True. They got shopping addiction, they got internet addiction, they got porn addiction, they got sex addiction, eating disorders, bulimia, anorexia, overeaters. It just goes on and on and on. So, did COVID affect it? Absolutely.
Yeah, because everyone is stuck at home, and an idle mind is the devil's workshop.
That's right.
Yeah. So what's something that you wish people knew about substance abuse and addiction, and what advice do you have for those dealing with a loved one who's struggling with addiction or is in recovery?
Well, it all depends where you are. Now, you're in Germany, so I don't know what it's like there.
I think it's almost the same as where you are.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, it is. It's just as bad.
Oh, okay. Well, first of all, get help, okay? And even the people that are the significant others, okay? The best way to do for them, they need to get help so they know how to deal with the drug addict or the alcoholic.
Yeah.
That's real important. Everybody needs to go get help, not just the addict. And most people say, well, I don't have the problem. They have the problem. I said, well, if they're with you, you got the problem too.
Yeah, you need to know how to deal with the problem.
Right. And anybody else, they need to find a therapist. They need to find a treatment center. I don't know what the treatment centers are like in Germany.
It's the same problem. It's also just for a short period of time. They're not offering lengthy periods where someone can really settle into their treatment and recover. It's just...
They're warehousing people, and that's what the problem is. Oh, people say, well, some people got clean. Yeah, there's a third rule. Some people you get clean, even if you put them in a closet standing on their head, because that's what they really want to get clean.
Yeah.
So the problem is they keep using the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. There's a 5 to 7% recovery rate from people coming out of treatment. So you'd think we would do something different. They keep doing the same thing. Over here in the States, the insurance companies control the treatment centers. Well, they tell you how long they can stay, what type of treatment you're going to give them. I mean, it's absurd. And it's just getting worse and worse and worse.
And these are people who are just talking from a financial point of view in the office. They're not hands down with the patients. they don't know what's best for the patients. They're just talking from an office level, I like to
Well,
put it.
yes. Well, the problem is over here we got a lot of bad actors. We call them. People that are not really they're not really doing good treatment. They're even buying people insurance policies so they can keep them in, and then as soon as they're done, they throw them out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's horrific what's going on, and our government keeps throwing money at the problem instead of fixing it.
Yeah.
And they don't want to listen. They try to fix it with Suboxone. Do you have that over there?
No, we don't have that.
You have methadone over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, methadone. Now they got Suboxone over here. They've had, and is this like in the 1900s? We had a morphine epidemic in this country.
Mm-hmm.
And what they all decided, the geniuses decided, well, let's give them heroin. That'll help them with the morphine epidemic. But we all know how that worked out.
Yeah.
So now they give them another opioid, hoping that it's going to fix things.
Yeah.
And they're saying that, well, at least people are not dying. No, they're the walking dead now because these opioids, they blunt dopamine and people are walking out like zombies. And then when they want to get off the drug, okay, it's incredibly difficult.
Yeah. Yeah. They're just replacing a problem with another problem.
Right. If people want to know more about some of this for the research, they can go to my website. It's John, the letter J, Giordano.com.
Okay. I'll
Right?
put it in the description box.
Okay, it's got to be the letter J because sometimes it comes out Jay. That's not it.
Okay.
So it's just J. And also, the books I wrote, How to Beat Your Addiction and Live a Quality Life, that's on Amazon. And The Kid from the South Bronx Never Gave Up.
Yeah.
So I tell my whole life story with that book to help motivate people, to show them no matter where you come from, no matter what schooling you have or what family you have, you can be successful.
Yeah. And you also have a podcast, right?
Yes, I have a podcast called Beat Your Addictions.
Awesome stuff. Everyone can check it out and get to know more about addictions and the triggers and how to help. Thank you so much, John, for today.
Knowledge is power, but without action is worthless.
True. That's really true.
And thank you so much, and for your patience of us being interrupted constantly.
I'm so sorry. I'm thankful for your patience.
No, we're helping
thank
God
you so much.
I can wait. It's okay.
Yeah. Anyway, have a lovely day, and
you too.
Thank you so much. Ciao. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning into that very informative and lovely chat that we just had with John Giordano about all things addiction and recovery. I hope you guys could take out something that you can share with your friends and family and apply to your own social circles, family circles, and your everyday life with the people that you meet and bump into every single day. Please don't forget to check out his books on Amazon and his website and his podcast. I'm going to leave all the details in the description box below for you to be able to access all that. I'm leaving you guys with 2 tracks by Daryl Kwana today. The track at the beginning is Ndipinde, and I am leaving you guys with Special Love. Thank you so much for tuning in. Stay blessed from your being with the biggest love.
What's up, number Danny? Are you living locally? Tell me from overseas, okay. Well, I'm here pushing money in a CBD. I just came to the club just to blow some steam, you know. I won't cause you drama, no. People like to talk, you know. I just want you, me and more. I wanna make you my love, oh. I won't cause you drama, no. People like to holla, oh. I just want you, me and more. I wanna make you my love, oh. Girl, you got that special love. I've been waiting all my life. just make out a lot of people talking. When you look to your left, that's a lot of people hating. Now look to your right, that's another group name. But I'ma chill, here's my number, you can connect me. When you're ready, I'll be here, you can call on. Waka wanda varkuzama kundi viringa. But trust me, baby, I won't cause you drama, no. People like to talk, you know. I just want you, me and more. I wanna make you my love. Oh. I won't cause you drama, no. But people like to hello. I just want you, me and more. I wanna make you my love. Oh. Girl, you got that special love. Girl, you got that special love.